Studies Section 5. Pricing and Output Under Perfect Competition. Introduction. Economists have found it useful to classify markets into 4 general categories, namely perfect competition, monopoly, monopolistic competition, and oligopoly. This classification is predicated largely on the number of firms in the industry that supplies the product. We intend to investigate how output and prices are determined in these markets. In this study section, you will examine output and pricing under perfect competition. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this section, you should be able to describe the characteristics of perfect competition, determine the equilibrium of a firm both in the short and long runs under perfect competition, determine the profit maximizing output of a perfectly competitive firm. Conditions for perfect competition. Perfect competition indicates a market structure characterized by the following conditions. 1. It consists of a large number of firms producing homogeneous products. There is lack of product differentiation. The product of one seller is the same as that of any other seller. The assumption of large number of sellers and of product homogeneity implies that the individual firm is a price taker. It cannot significantly influence market. The demand curve confronting the firm is thus infinitely elastic, indicating that the firm can sell any amount of output at the prevailing market price. 2. Under perfect competition, all resources are completely mobile. Factors of production are free to move from one firm to the other. Labor is not unionized. 3. There is perfect information and complete knowledge of the conditions prevalent in the market. Consumers, firms, and resource owners have perfect knowledge of the relevant economic and technological data. 4. There is free entry and exit into the market. There is also absence of government regulation. 5. The objective of all firms is profit maximization. Other goals are not pursued. It is obvious from these conditions that no industry is perfectly competitive in real life. The conclusions derived from the model of perfect competition have nevertheless proved to be very useful in explaining and predicting firms' behavior in the real world. Nevertheless, a close example to perfect competitive market is stock exchange market. Question. In a perfectly competitive market, the intervention of government in activities of the market does not change the form of the market. True or false? Feedback. False. In a perfect competitive market, there is no government intervention. Equilibrium of the firm in the short run. The firm is in equilibrium when it produces the output that maximizes the difference between total cost and total revenue. Profit is defined as the difference between total revenue and total cost are maximized at the unit of output where the difference between TR and TC is greatest. P is equal to TR minus TC. The total revenue and total cost curves of a firm in a perfectly competitive market is shown below. Cost revenue, unit of output. X1, X0, X2, maximum 2, TC, TR, and then X2. The firm maximizes profit at output level 1 where the distance between TR and TC curve is greatest. At lower and higher levels of output, total profit is not maximized. There are 2 break-even points A and B where the firm makes 0 profit. Beyond this break-even point, the firm records a loss since TC is greater than TC. Alternatively, using the marginal approach, the short-run equilibrium of the firm is attained where marginal cost equals marginal revenue. This is shown by point E below. Price and cost, MC, AC, D is equal to MR, which is equal to P, unit of output. Since marginal revenue equal to price for a perfectly competitive producer, short-run equilibrium occurs at the output level where marginal cost equals price. The total profit is shown by the shaded area. This shaded area or region is known as supernormal profit / abnormal profit of the firm. The fact that a firm is in short-run equilibrium does not necessarily imply that it makes excess profits. Excess profit or losses depend on the level of the ATC at equilibrium. If the ATC is below the price at equilibrium, the firm earns excess profit. On the other hand, if the ATC is above the price, then the firm makes a loss. However, in the latter case, the firm will continue to produce if it covers the variable cost, otherwise it will be forced to close down. However, excess profit is a short-run phenomenon. In the long run, excess profit will attract new firms into the market. Since there is free entry and exit into the market, the consequent readjustment of other firms in the industry would lead to a long-run equilibrium in which firms will just earn normal profits. Question: at what point of production is a firm at short-run equilibrium? Feedback: the firm is in equilibrium when it produces the output that gives the highest difference between total cost incurred and total revenue generated. Long-run equilibrium in a perfectly competitive firm. The long-run equilibrium for a firm in perfect competition occurs at the point where price equals minimum long-run average cost. At this point, the short and long-run marginal costs are equal and the short-run average cost equals minimum long-run average cost. The long-run equilibrium is characterized by absence of supernormal profit or losses. In the long run, firms make only normal profit, which are equivalent to the rate of returns obtainable in comparable perfectly competitive industries. Hint: in the long run, a perfectly competitive market does not enjoy abnormal or supernormal profit because of assumption of free entry and exit, which has increased the average total cost of the firm. Numerical problem: given that TC is equal to 75 plus 4Q minus 11Q squared plus Q cube and price is equal to 20 naira, obtain the profit maximizing quantity of a perfectly competitive firm. Under pure competition, profit is maximized when MR is equal to MC. Note that MR is equal to P under perfect competition. The profit maximizing quantity is thus at the point where P is equal to MC. Given that TC is equal to 75 plus 4Q minus 11Q squared plus Q cube, MC is equal to the TC, the Q equal to 4 minus 22Q plus 3Q squared. MC is equal to P. 4 minus 22Q plus 3Q squared is equal to 20. The equation becomes 3Q squared minus 22Q minus 16 is equal to 0. Using any of the available methods to obtain Q raised to power 1 equal to 8 and Q raised to power 2 equal to minus 4 over 6. Since Q cannot be negative, we accept only Q equal to 8. Thus, profit is maximized when Q is equal to 8. Question: at what point of production is a firm at long-run equilibrium? Feedback: The long-run equilibrium for a firm in perfect competition occurs at the point where price equals minimum long-run average costs. Studies section summary. We have discussed the 5 conditions that govern perfect competition, which are the presence of a large number of firms producing homogeneous products. Each competitor is a price taker and cannot significantly influence the markets. All resources must be perfectly mobile. There is a perfect information and complete knowledge, and there is freedom of entry and exit from the market, while the objective of all firms is to maximize profit. In the short run, the firm maximizes profit by producing at an output level where marginal cost equals price. The long-run equilibrium occurs at the point where price equals minimum long-run average cost. This is the end of studies section 5. Thanks for listening.